Hey everyone, I'm Brian. I'm really glad to be here today writing and talking about writing with you all. So, I am a writer and a writing teacher. Most of what I write is memoir, by which I mean true stories, some about my life and some about others' lives. My first book on the left there is called Going Somewhere, and it was about a cross country bicycle trip that I took about a decade ago from Wisconsin, where I grew up, to here, to Portland. That trip took about 2 months, and writing that book took about 5 years. My next book is just beside it. It is called This Is Not For You, and it's going to come out in 2021. That isn't actually the cover. There is no cover yet because it's still being produced. But that's a picture of Richard Brown. And Mr. Brown is an 81-year-old activist and photographer who has spent decades doing community work on behalf of Portland's Black community. And so the book is about him and about his work. Besides the writing here, I really like to read a lot as well. And today I'm going to be sharing just a few pieces that I really love that will hopefully help inspire you to do some writing of your own. So, what we're going to do today is we are going to write a bit about who we are and what we care about. And first, to get ourselves started, we're going to write a little bit about our names. And I want to explain first what I mean by how we're going to write. So, we're going to do a quick free write. And for those of you who haven't done a free write before, the idea with it is it's pretty simple. I'll give you a prompt, and then I'll tell you how long you'll have to write for. And then for that whole time, you just want to keep writing. If you can't think of anything to write, you can just write, I can't think of what to write, or just a long list of periods until you get yourself to a point where you've got another sentence in you, where you've come up with something new to get on the page. So for our first free write, what we're going to do is we are going to make a list of our nicknames, just any nicknames that you've had over the course of your life. So you can say what the nickname is, and then if you feel like it, you can also write who gave it to you and or how you feel about it. I'll give you an example. One of my nicknames is Benny. I haven't heard it for a long time, but it was a big one when I was younger. My middle school soccer coach, this guy Jim Lowe, called me Benny. And I think it was probably just because he kept forgetting my name. I wasn't very good and didn't play that much. And maybe he thought I was Ben. So anyway, Ben then became Benny. And then some of my friends started calling me Benny, and I really liked it. I don't know why, but I think it just, like, some of the other nicknames that I had when I was a kid felt kind of mean, and this one just felt really friendly. So yeah, it's the first one that popped to mind for me. So now you're going to have the chance to do something similar. We're going to have 5 minutes. And during those 5 minutes, you can just write about your nicknames. Again, you can just list the names if you want. And if you feel like it, you can write where you got the nickname from and how it made you feel or makes you feel hearing it. So you can do this on the worksheet, or if you'd like, you can just do it using paper and pencil. So when you're ready, just hit pause on this video and then write for 5 minutes. And I'll just wait here for you, okay? Ready? Go. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. So like I said, we are gonna write today about who we are and what we care about, which is a really big thing to try to explain, right? Well, I've got this essay that I'd like to share with you to get you thinking about one way to do that. And it's by a Turkish American writer named Aisha Papatya Buchak. If I can get over here, there she is. All right. So she was born in Istanbul, Turkey, to an American mother and a Turkish father, and she writes short stories and essays. And we're going to read an excerpt from one of her short essays published on this place called Brevity, which is a great spot to find lots of really short writing like this. Her essay is called An Address to My Fellow Faculty Who Have Asked Me to Speak About My Work. So I'm going to read you that excerpt now. I'll say the title again, even though it's really long. An address to my fellow faculty who have asked me to speak about my work. by Aisha Papatya Buchak. My work is to write this sentence and revise it into that sentence, to take this word and replace it with that word. My work is a novel I wrote from 5 to 7 a.m. for more than 2 years and that will never be published. My work is to see who you are and who I think you could become, to notice the slate gray night lit by a full moon half behind a cloud, to know what it is to want more from someone than they are willing to give, to see the shadows cast by your secrets, to notice an ant that is drowned in a single drop of water in my sink. My work is to explain my heart even though I cannot explain my heart. My work is to find the right word even though there is no right word. My work is to stop everything when a student right in front of me writes the line, "I think I would be a better dancer if only I had wings." My work is to tell you that without art, we would be in a world without art. My work is the blood on the heels of my socks in high school because I ran sometimes, but not always, so that my calluses came and went. My work is to honor the glory of trash day. All of those cans lined up before dawn, an obedient nation in this one instance only. My work is to believe in everybody's capacity for kindness. My work is to believe in everybody's capacity for cruelty. My work is to imagine a world without art so that there is never a world without art. My work is to tell you this. Years ago, I was on the subway in Manhattan, and we stopped between stations, and the staticky voice came on the speaker and said there would be a delay of 20 minutes, and cursing ripped through the car. But then a young woman across from me took out a small pile of paper, and she started folding red origami swans. And each time she finished one, she handed it to one of us. My work is my origami swans. Thanks for listening to that. Apologies if there are any tech difficulties in the middle there. Also, it just started raining really hard outside my window. I don't know if you can hear that, but it sounds kind of nice here at least. So I really like this essay. I like it for so many reasons. First off, I think it's cool how she approaches the idea of work. You know, way too often, for me at least, when work gets talked about, we're focusing on what we do for money or in school. And I really, really like how Buchak here focuses more broadly on her work as an artist, as a person. I also really like how she uses so many great vivid details to let us know who she is. You know, we have the bit about the blood on the heels of her socks in high school, so we know about her as a runner. And then there's that noticing the ant in the sink too. And so we have a sense of what she sees and what she pays attention to, what she cares about. I like how she uses repetition also. Every sentence, almost everyone, begins with "my work is," and it gives the writing a really nice rhythm, I think, and it lets us know what we can expect from the writing. And then when she breaks that rhythm at the end, for me at least, it's really exciting. You know, it makes me perk up a little bit and think, this is different, this is important, I should pay attention to this. And what she uses there at the very end is a metaphor, which, as you know, is basically one thing that can just stand for another thing, or represent another thing. So that origami swan that she gets given by the woman on the subway, it ends up standing in for work, for what she wants us to know about what she thinks work is, what sort of work is important to her, what defines work. So some quick writing vocabulary, some things that we just talked about. We just read a list essay, which very simply is an essay that repeats words, images, or ideas in the form of a list. And in a list essay, and in this essay in general, the writer uses repetition. So reusing words or phrases to give them more power or meaning. The more she says, "my work is," the more that it implants in us this idea that work is important and that it's building throughout. And the metaphor, a figure of speech, again, that makes a comparison between two things that are, or at least seem to be, otherwise unrelated. And so again, that swan that she lands on at the end ends up being a really nice metaphor for work. But there are a lot of other metaphors in the writing as well. So I would like you to take a little bit of time to try this exercise, to try to do the same thing that the writer did in that piece. Before you get started with writing, I want you to think about all the things that you do and are. Think about the art that you make or the art that you would love to make. Think about the people that you love, the people that are important to you in your life. Think about the things that, I don't even think about them. Look at the things right now that you can see outside of a window, the things that are in your home that you notice, that you care about, that stand out to you, that you want to remember. Think about who you really are on the deepest level. And then when you've done that, I want you to write a list essay about your work. You can start every line, like the writer does, with "my work is." And I want you to try to break that form at least once. Okay, so you're gonna have 10 minutes to write. When you're ready, you can just pause the video and get yourself started. And when you're done, I'll be here waiting. Okay, so 10 minutes, you can hit pause and start writing now. All right, welcome back. I hope you get some good writing done there, and I hope you get to think and write in a pretty broad way about what work means to you. So I've got one more thing that I want to share with you, and it's a bonus poem, and there will be a bonus exercise attached to it. And it's just it's a beautiful piece of writing that I wanted to share, and it's also a list, but this one is a list poem, and it is by the writer and performer Denez Smith. So Denez Smith is a Black queer pause writer from St. Paul, Minnesota, and they are the author of the poetry collections Homie and Don't Call Us Dead. We're probably in another lesson going to actually read another Denez Smith poem, and I just picked up Homie, and wow, it is an incredible, incredible collection. If you like poetry and if you like what we read in a second, I definitely recommend picking up more of their work. Okay, so we're going to read their poem. It is a list poem, and it is called Alternate Names for Black Boys. Alternate Names for Black Boys by Denez Smith. 1. Smoke above the burning bush. 2. Arch nemesis of summer night. 3. First son of soil. 4. Coal awaiting spark and wind. 5. Guilty until proven dead. 6. Oil heavy starlight. 7. Monster until proven ghost. 8. Gone. 9. Phoenix who forgets to on ash. 10. Going, going, gone. 11. Gods of shovels and black veils. 12. What once passed for kindling. 13. Fireworks at dawn. 14. Brilliant shadow-hued coral. 15. I thought to leave this blank, but who am I to name us nothing? 16. Prayer who learned to bite and sprint. 17. A mother's joy and clutched breath. So I love this poem. I love how it makes use of a list, which again lets me know what to expect. And it breaks the poem up in a really interesting way where I take a breath in between each one of those, and I think what it means before moving on to read the next item in the list. And I love that he uses so much metaphor. The one that really caught me while reading this aloud to you was coal awaiting spark and wind. I could really see that, and I found myself imagining what that spark and wind might be. I also love really that in a way they are making their own nicknames, different things that they might call themselves or be called. So again, this is just a bonus. But if you're feeling inspired and excited to write about this poem, here's what you can do. I want you to think about one aspect of your identity, or multiple. So Denez Smith writes about Black boys. If I were to write this, might write alternate names for Midwestern boys, alternate name for for white boys or for introverts. Anything really that feels like it's a descriptor of who you are, and that you want to imagine a little bit differently with different language. So what I want you to do is just like I did, like Danez Smith does, choose a title, alternate names for whatever you'd like to choose. And then write a list poem, numbered just like Danez Smith does in their poem. Write a list poem about alternate names for whatever it is you choose. I'd say try to get at least 10 names on your list. And if possible, try to use at least one metaphor. And again, that's a bonus, so you can just do that one right now or on your own time if you'd like. So that's it for our lesson today. I just want to thank you so much for being here and for writing with me today. And I'll be doing some more of these lessons, and I hope you'll join me again for them if you enjoyed this. I also really hope that you will decide to submit your writing for the anthology. There's going to be an anthology that's put together using writing in these sessions that you're a part of. And I hope that you'll come to the virtual reading. So there's going to be a virtual reading held later on in May, in this month. And more than anything, I really just hope that you keep writing and keep making art and getting your voice out there. You and your stories really matter. Thanks again for being here today.